Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei has declared that the battle begins. That means war is going to begin, and rejected call for surrender, warning that US intervention would be irreparable damage. He reaffirmed Tehran's stance against unconditional surrender despite pressure from US President Donald J. Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, the hot situation, escalating situation is going on in Middle East, especially in Iran and Tehran. Let me welcome to today's International Affairs at SATV from SATV Studio Live. We have a very distinguished panelist today, Major Nasir retired. He is war and disaster specialist, and we have our regular international affairs commentator Shamsul Alam Pantho, and we will be definitely connecting Islamabad, Pakistan. Shakil Ahmed, he is a very senior journalist. Let me first go to our international affairs commentator Shamsul Alam Pantho. Before giving it to him, I have one more important thing. President Trump has privately approved US strike plans, but is withholding final authorization. He stated he might or might not intervene as the US bolsters its military posters in the region. Sir, executive order can go for the military intervention to other countries, but there is a procedure that it has to come approved from Congress and Senate, from both the houses. So in this situation, will he use his executive power to send his soldiers and airplanes to attack Iran? This is one question. And second thing, what you want to pick from world affairs today?
Thank you, Mr. Kanchan. Definitely a warm welcome to Dr. Nasiruddin Ahmed as well. Actually, today is the 7th day of the conflict. There is no chance of a ceasefire happening, as now there is total casualties of 585 individuals in Iran, and on Israel, at least 24 individuals have died as the cause of this war. Yesterday also, Iran had taken part in launching of an intercontinental ballistic missile, first I think of this kind in this escalation towards Israel. And this morning we saw that an Israeli hospital was damaged, which was nearby a tech park used by the Israeli military.
So there are many things happening. Washington is giving statements, Tehran is giving statements in reference to its supreme leader. Dr. Nasir, you were a soldier.
Yes.
You worked in United Nations.
Yes.
You worked in Middle East.
Yes.
As a peacekeeping team.
Also in Gulf War.
In Gulf War also. You have vast experience in Middle East. What do you think? What Ayatollah Khamenei is declaring, what President Trump is doing, and in between what Netanyahu is taking advantages from that?
Okay, thank you, Kanchan, and greetings to my dear viewers. We'll have to realize that why Netanyahu picked up this particular time for attacking Iran, because the history goes that since 1980, Iran was involved in direct battle with any form, and our first peacekeepers, the officers lord, they went to bring peace in Iran-Iraq war back in 1980. Now it is already 45 years gone. So Iran was already in war, and this is not a new thing. In 2008 there was a drone attack from Israel's side. You know, in 2020 General Suleiman Kashemi was killed in Syria once he was in the right in the embassy of the Iran's
consulate over there.
Yes, and in another attack, another general was killed in Baghdad airport in 2022. So the Iran was more or less gazing that there could be a attack right onto its nuclear facilities or towards the oil refineries and the energy hub anytime from the Israel side or even from USA. But you know, on 12th there was a motion in the parliament of Israel where there was a near miss, we can say it, that the early election was the motion and 61 vote was in favor of Netanyahu's continuation for another 1 year. Their next election is scheduled on 26th October, October 2026. And 53 votes were in favor of early election, that is Netanyahu's early resignation, that the breaking of the parliament. So that was a big issue for Netanyahu. And you know the parliament is hanging now in Israel. Anytime it can collapse because they did not have, the Likud party did not have the absolute majority. So Netanyahu was under tremendous pressure to do something against the Muslims, particularly against Iran, as quickly as possible, because this is the right time when the proxy war was in low intensity, the Hezbollah and the other Houthi.
Yeah, you rightly said Iran's network of allies, Hezbollah, Hamas and others has largely remained on the sidelines so far, prompting analysts to warn they could still enter if United States interventions.
Yes. So that is another issue when the Netanyahu was under tremendous pressure from its allies, from USA and also from the Israel, that this is the time they should do something for against Iran. And surprisingly, Kanchan, you know that there was a precise attack, particularly I should say it was an intelligence failure of Iran and total intelligence success of Mossad, that is the Israel. Pinpointedly they have struck onto the known location of generals and the scientists of the top ranking military establishments. So this says that how deeply Israel developed their intelligence organizations, intelligence networks and also the intelligence apparatus. Many stories are there, but if we summarize, you can say definitely there was some apparatus, some chips, something inside the building where the drone directly could strike. You see, on 13th there was a major general who was killed, and he was replaced by another major general who was killed on 17th.
Yeah.
So that
4 days later, exactly 4 days.
4 days after, and so many scientists at a time on the first wave being washed out. It's surprising for the whole country or the intelligence students, I should say. Now the people who are military analysts, who are planning the war, who are especially working with the cybersecurity, intelligence, counterintelligence, they have a lot of things to learn from this war.
So there is a gap between the intelligence capability of Iran and versus Israel. I want to go to our international affairs commentator. He is keenly watching and observing the entire event going on in Middle East, including the involvement of Washington. Sir, my question is, why Washington is fueling on the fire?
Thank you, Mr. Kanchan. I will add on to your question about America's involvement right now. Even if Donald Trump signs an executive order to order his military into this war between Israel and Iran, the Congress would need to have to approve of such an action of severe deployment. But let me get your attention. Even yesterday night on the Tucker Carlson show, as you know, Tucker Carlson used to be anchor of Fox News network. He was talking with Senator Ted Cruz, who blatantly admitted unknowingly that the US was aiding Israel from the back, from the behind, so from the backside, so back of the stage, if you would like to call it. This sets an important precedent, as most of the nations in the global hierarchy has taken note. At this moment, even last night, we have seen 3 cargo planes, suspectively China, was aiding Iran in some kind of weapons grade support towards their fight. At this moment, ceasefire remains out of question completely, and the loss of life is mounting every day.
Sir, Israel's ambassador to the United States said Israel must eliminate not only the Iran's ability to make nuclear weapons, but also its ability to produce ballistic missiles. Will Israel decide what Iran will produce or not, what Iran will practice or not? Iran is a sovereign country, Major Nasir.
Yeah. So That is a very interesting part of the war scenario. You know, if you talk about the Middle East, the entire Middle East is now under control of the USA, rather indirectly by the Israel, except I should say Iran. There are 10 countries where 22 military bases of the USA.
23, sir.
Yes, 23. Sorry, last one was added. 23 military bases are set up already, and those bases are continuously monitoring. If you talk about the Adel Bay, on the other side, all the countries are either monarch or under control of the USA, except Yemen. Except Yemen. You know the situation in Yemen now. Those who could not obey by the order of the USA and the Israel, they have faced this one. The other side, the countries like Sudan and Ethiopia, they are also tremendously paying a heavy toll in all sorts of form. Now, Iran is only the country who is probably raising the head and also probably not directly bowing heads to any of the threats of the USA and the Israel. So, definitely that was a, I sure that should be the target of the Israel and USA. That was quite obvious, but probably this is the time when Netanyahu is also under heavy criticism at home and abroad for the atrocities went in Gaza. You know, in the USA there was a, in Los Angeles there was heavy protest against the US president, and there was a verdict from the courts against the president himself in the USA. So all this confusion and all this chaos probably prompted both USA and the Israel to do something, to dictate something which will divert the attention of the whole world towards something. Now that's why your question came, why Israel is poking nose about the nuclear or the defense capabilities of another country.
Sir, I have a very different dimension of this war. You know, you both gentlemen know that President Trump has quickly returned from Canada to Washington.
Yeah.
He says that he has something more than ceasefire to organize for Israel and Iran. But Washington Post has written one interesting news that President Donald Trump has urgently did a meeting with the Pakistani Field Marshal Asif Munir. And Pakistan is a neighboring country, and few months back Pakistan put some missiles to Iran. Iran retaliated to Pakistan. So does America is going to engage Pakistan in this war, because Pakistan is a neighboring country of Iran, sir? Shamsul Alam Pantu, sir.
Thank you for your question, Mr. Kanchan. Pakistan's Baloch province is, I think, in the border with Iran. They did share some hostilities in the past, as you mentioned. But I would add on, since the US leader has met Field Marshal Asif Munir, let me give you the history of US involvement in Iran. Back in 1953, the US helped stage a coup to overthrow Iran's democratically elected Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh. And this was regarding to nationalize the country's oil fields, a move which enraged the US and Great Britain, given their dependence on the Middle Eastern oil. Later on, the US had strengthened the Shah's rule, which was the Iran's monarch, and they appointed a new Prime Minister General Fazlullah Zahidi. This is some of the part of history. Yes. And the United States government under Obama rule in 2009 had said that such an involvement did take place. So there's no way of this being wrong. This obviously backfired after toppling Mr. Mossadegh. There was a growing resent inside Iran's nationals, and they understood that the foreign interference was given a toll on their economy. And later, and such now we call it the Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps, or the Islamic Revolution that took place in 1979 up until today, yeah, was in the face of American interference in Iran. So that's the history of how America plays a part in today's Israel and Iran war.
But we should not forget that United States, patronized Iran when the war between Iraq and Iran. So Iran once was a good ally of United States. Yes. So things has gone changed in the period of time. I want to come to Dr. Nasir. Dr. Nasir, United States is organizing an event. They are engaging Pakistan, Jordan and other neighboring countries of Israel to protect Israel and to hit to Iran. What Iran is doing with his allies, I mean Russia, China, Turkey and North Korea.
Okay. Right. So I will just add with the finishing remarks of Mr. Partha that as the question went with the Pakistan and the Iran allies, you know, the distance between the Balochistan, where the China established one port, Gardwan port probably, Iran is exactly 120 kilometers from there, Iran's border. And Pakistan shares 590 kilometers of border with China, and China is in the process of making a corridor. So Pakistan is the next target already. It came up in the newspaper from the Iran side because number one, its nuclear ability, whatever it has, Pakistan, and number two, anytime Pakistan may come in favor of the Iran, which will make a very strong bonding of the Islamic forces. I repeat, Islamic forces, Muslim forces. But interestingly, you see, Kanchan, right at this moment, where is the Pakistani Field Marshal, the army chief?
He's in Washington. Yeah.
And he is enjoying lunch with
President Trump.
Which is unprecedented.
Yes.
Normally, a army chief or any commander of any rank should not have a
According to protocol, it doesn't go.
It doesn't go. It should be state head to state head.
Yes.
A force head having a lunch meeting with the US president is something very different in nature. So that means that how the USA is planning to use the army of Pakistan against Iran or in favor of the choice of the USA, number one. Number two is that what Khomeini is doing, Khomeini probably, he tried his best to get support of the Islamic world. You see, we have a YC, Organization of Islamic Countries, which kept mum, which is just whatever they have said, that was a eyewash. The Islamic countries, especially the Gulf countries where monarchs are there, they have said something, but probably they did not mean what they said. And he probably understood that I will not get any support from the Muslim world the way it is expected. So definitely there was a choice of our Ayatollah that Ali Khamenei to look for the help from the China and Russia. As Mr. Partha already covered, there was 3 planes flown from the China, including one from the city of Shanghai, where is a huge military industry, and one coastal area, name did not come up. Another one is from the center of the China, and these are going towards the west. The moment it closed towards Iran's border from Tajikistan, the radar went off, and internationally nobody could track where those 3 planes have gone. So after that, definitely there is a there is a estimation or there is a gauge that it probably carried heavy military equipments, and the aircraft which probably Boeing 787, which carries huge load, probably China has already handed over its armaments required by the by the Iran, and that if it is used against either Israel or any other force, especially the threat is now onto the military bases of the USA. If the USA is, why Donald Trump has given the permission, already signed it, but kept it withheld. He said, I know where is this gentleman, the Ali Khamenei, the highest spiritual or the religious leader, but I am not going to kill him now. What a statement, you see. I am not going to kill him this time. That means he can kill and he can give life to anyone. So that is the statement nature. And then he passed the bill probably, and as I can understand, you said that has to be approved. And that approval will not be a very costly game because.
Okay, sir. You said that approval will not be the costly game. I have an information. American popular news channel Fox News has done polls among the American voters. Registered voters in the United States are the split on Israel's decision to launch military strikes against Iran's nuclear facilities. To a Fox News poll released Wednesday, with 49% is saying they approve of the strikes, 49%, and 46% they disapprove. Interesting thing is, a 73% majority of the Republican and Republican living voters approve of the strikes, falling to 32% among Democratic aligned in independent voters allied. My question would be, both of you gentlemen, President Trump himself is criticized in his country. In this situation, do you think Congress and Senate, both the House, will support him to go for the direct engagement in this war?
Should I answer first?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, USA decision regarding a direct attack onto the Iran, it depends on few of the factors. Okay, if I name some of the factors like the what should be the consequence in Strait of Hormuz? If the Hormuz Strait is blocked in any way, there will be huge repercussion in the entire world.
And that is within the Iran's capability.
Within Iran's capability, and this is a very narrow step. One side is Oman, another side is Iran, and that is with the very narrow capacity. I visited this.
33 kilometer only.
Yes, you can very well understand. So, this is a major factor, that if USA goes for strike, and if in retaliation Iran closes this Hormuz Strait, probably the world economy and other situation will be beyond the control of the USA. So that is a factor probably affecting the decision of the US president and as well as the parliament, number one. Number two is that, as I said, there are 23 military bases in the Middle East, entire Middle East and the Arab countries.
Right, sir.
So those will be under attack, because Iran will try its best to, if cannot hit Israel for any reason, at least to do something with the bases in the Middle East, and also as we know that there are fleets, the naval fleets have moved towards the Gulf region. So those will be under attack. So that is another issue. There could be a terrorist attack, because we should not undermine any terrorist which is not active at the moment. A terrorist is always a terrorist. A single terrorist can do and undo many things. A single, it doesn't mean as even a pair of terrorists. If he is motivated that I should die but do something for the religion, for the leader, or for any good cause, one is enough. So that is also another one that could be unrest in the USA, in other European countries, and that's why probably USA president and the Congress or everybody is thinking of its consequence in Europe and also in the United Nations.
Are you indicating Islamophobia?
Yeah, definitely. There is, now, in one stage, it is surprising, Kanchan, that even after killing of more than 50,000 Muslims in Gaza, it is almost now 54,000, I believe. 55,000. So the whole Islamic world was mum. And mum doesn't mean that everybody is silent or everybody is watching it. Everybody is inside, their heart is burning. So anytime there could be an outburst of this burning. So that is also another factor I think the USA is considering before hitting.
You are considering, or you are directing that insurgency may spread around the world.
Around the world, yes.
Shamsul Alam Panto, I want to get your compliment on this particular, because he has given an indication that not only proxy forces like Hezbollah, Hamas, Houthis, it can touch the heart of every Muslim individuals.
Thank you, Mr. Kanchan. Of course, I was listening to Dr. Nasir, definitely valid inputs. If you look at the war-like situation now, the world is reeling from a 3.5-year war in Ukraine, Russia. We've seen a 2-week war, if you would call it, India-Pakistan. We are seeing a war, Israel and Gaza, and then now Israel and Iran. It's fair to say that in 2025, war has become popular. It is now popular to be in war, but if you look at the grassroots of the problem, various nations create weapon systems, missile barrages as a means of deterrence, not a mean of warmongering into another sovereign nation, which has unfortunately taken place between Israel and Iran. Even though Western countries are now divided amongst themselves, and especially because Donald Trump's leadership in the last 6 months, when he first came into the House, Mexico and Canada were under threat of being taken over, and Greenland as well. He claimed that Greenland should become a part of America. That is not how a world leader should be expecting to talk. Regardless, we know that Donald Trump had made a statement about killing another leader of another sovereign nation. Such a comment will definitely make sure that warmongering and war in general becomes the new norm for everyone else to follow, which is a dangerous precedent in the 21st century.
Sir, one interesting news has been broken by CNN's Max Stallman. He said Putin doesn't even want to discuss the possibility of the US killing Iran's leader. Putin denounces. On the other hand, I have got another news. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un denounces Israel's intervention to the Iran. So it is spreading worldwide.
Yeah.
Iran's allies are responding. Iran's allies are coming to the stage. What are you suspecting in coming days?
Yeah, that is there is another factor which is influencing the US policy and towards the Iran, and also the appropriate time to get directly involved with the war between the Israel and Iran. So the allies, as you have mentioned, that Russia, that is Putin, and also the North Korea, that they have the capabilities of shaping the war at any time. If they directly get involved, anything may happen, anything can go wrong, or anything can go for disaster. So that is another issue, I think, the influencing the policy of the USA and the Israel. And you never know, if there is a slightest use of nuclear forces by any of the parties, I think North Korea will not keep mum. It is always testing its nuclear capabilities and nuclear warheads one after another, and probably this time they will use it on ground, no more testing fire. I think Korea is looking for one opportunity, on ground it should test it, and that could be the disaster for the whole world.
Sir, I just want to look back at the history.
Yeah.
Hitler attacks Russia in 1936. That means Second World War begins in 1936. But United States of America engaged itself into the Second World War in 1946 after 9, 10, 11 years. And United States used its nuclear bomb to Japan when Pearl Harbor was attacked.
Yes.
So some commentators are saying that with the expenditure of billions of dollars, creating atom bomb is not to keep inside the pillow. It is to protect the country, protect the citizen, protect the humanity, right?
Yeah.
So if you think, if America, if Israel attacks simultaneously to Iran, Iran will put its atom bomb or nuclear bomb aside the pillow.
No.
Do you think it?
No.
Sir, what is your comment on that?
Thank you, Mr. Kanchan. Right now, you mentioned Pearl Harbor. Definitely there was a retaliatory strike on Japanese land, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Historians have been commenting that even after the explosion, there has been numerous high levels of cancer poisoning, poisoning in the body, lead poisoning, and that led to many more years, decades down the line, affecting the people of those particular places. Say if a nuclear bomb would go off in the current war zone right now, this would become the headline of the entire century. I'll give you some of the information of whereabouts this kind of bomb may be used. In the Qum region, there's Iran's Rudro nuclear plant, which Israeli news agency mentioned that you cannot destroy this plant, which is hidden inside a mountain, and you would need almost a kilometer of depth for it to be destroyed, and such an only bomb is only at the helm of America. So if America were to take on their role in this unnecessary war, then definitely it will have severe impact to the years to come.
Dr. Nasir, what is your comment on that? Will Iran be silent if it is attacked in numerous way?
No, there is no question. There is no question, because if Iran remains silent, it is understood that the volume of attack or the pressure will be mounted more onto Iran. So, once somebody is hard pressed and pushed against the wall, there is no space to go back. The person has to jump forward at the cost of even his life. So, that is the scenario going to happen. And I am alarmed that already in the Natanz nuclear site, there is a water reactor, you know, for any development of any nuclear weapon or the atomic, even for the peaceful use of atomic energy, the reactor plays the major role, and there has to be cooling system based on the water. So, if the water reservoir or the water required for cooling system is destroyed, that means there could be a disaster in the nuclear site even, if possible. And already there is a news that one of the water reservoir has been hit by the Israeli missiles, and that means that any time, even it was expected that internationally there is a practice, there is a norm that normally they should not use the nuclear sites directly, because that could cause damage not only to the country itself. Reaction, as Mr. Partha has said, that it's the flame or it's the reaction could be worldwide in neighboring countries also. So, Iran is very close country to this side Pakistan, this side Iraq, and this side Tajikistan. So, there could be, and these sites are not concentrated in only one place. There are different places, as Mr. Partha has mentioned about one of the places under the ground. So, that could be a disaster, and if really if the disaster comes up like that, I think Iran, as that day I said, that Ali Khamenei has already signed one fatwa that it should not be used, as it kills the innocents also. Islam doesn't permit. So, that time he must be signing another fatwa that to survive in this world, everything is allowed in Islam. So, now we will have to go for the nuclear.
Thank you, gentlemen. In the first part of the program, viewers, we have discussed the current scenario, what happened, what is happening, what we are watching. But in the second part of the program, we will definitely discuss what role can be played by United Nations, Russia, China, Turkey and other powerful countries who are also atomic nations. But I will have a special interest to discuss about what the regional forces like Arabian countries can play in this situation, because yesterday International Atomic Energy Agency has clearly said they have no evidence that Iran is developing a nuclear bomb. We will be coming back shortly.
গুলি ছোড়ার মধ্যে ডাইরেক্ট অর্ডারে যদি কেউ দোষী সাব্যস্ত হন, সেই ব্যক্তি হতে পারে তারেক সিদ্দিকী।
আমরা তো সবাই তাকিয়ে আছি শেখ হাসিনার দিকেই।
নো, এই যে রং কনসেপ্ট, যে কারণে আপনারা এখনো পর্যন্ত বারবার মুখ থুবড়ে পড়তেছেন। তারেক সিদ্দিকী সে হচ্ছে যতগুলো মার্ডার হয়েছে, যতগুলো গুম হয়েছে, যতগুলো অন্যায় হয়েছে, যেটা দিয়ে পুরো জাতিকে ভয় দেখানো গেছে, সেই ভয়ঙ্কর লোকটাকে আপনারা এখনো পর্যন্ত বিচারের কাঠগড়ায় আনতে পারেন নাই। যতক্ষণ পর্যন্ত আনতে পারবেন না, আপনি স্বাধীন না।
Ladies and gentlemen, as we are saying that in the first part of the program we have discussed the recent developments in Iran and Israel wars. Now we will discuss about the potential and possible diplomatic move by the other superpowers, including United States and including United Nations, and of course yesterday International Atomic Energy Commission has says they have no evidence that Iran is producing nuclear bomb. In this situation, United States has took a side with Israel. What other superpower can do? What magic can come from Kremlin, I mean from Putin and from China?
Okay. Just I share one information. The moment Israel decided to strike particularly the Iran's few of the sites, they said that probably Iran was at the final stage of shaping their uraniums and the warheads were going to be prepared in full form within next 9 days. So that was the time they said that now this is the now or never. Just now we should strike, otherwise we will be delayed. As I said before, that is the day when the Putin nearly, Netanyahu nearly missed the no confidence motion in the parliament. But they said, what they brought in front of the media, Israeli government, that only 9 days left with Iran to develop the nuclear heads.
Was it a lie?
Definitely right, because the CIA itself said that they were months away. I repeat, months away. So this is one. Now, as you said, that what the others can do, especially the from Kremlin and other headquarters of the power hub, this is the time to save the world, I should say. This is the time to save the world. The world cannot sustain another third world war. This world, because the more we pass the days, more armaments and destruction capabilities has been developed in the entire world. Now the world is dependent on technology. You need not to kill the people. You need not to, destroy a country or a total population. If you destroy the technological hubs, if the radio station like the petroleum facilities like the power plants and the refueling stations, then the well refineries, that is enough to destroy one country. So this is how the whole world will be under tremendous threat if the war between Iran and Israel get further accelerated, and if the superpowers take a side of it. Already USA, we know whether they have declared it or not, they are in the side of the Israel. So there is option for other superpowers, those who are anti-Americans, that they should take the side of Iran. So that is the world history goes like that. The Cold War was there, World War was there. Every time there was a division between the two parties.
Shamsul Alam Panto, I want to pick two words from his comments. He used a word, third world war. World cannot afford third world war. Yes. It is one thing. Another thing, United States already took a side. What can Russia, China and other allies can do to save the planet, to save the humanity, to save the human from this barbarism and from this brutal attack?
Well, if you look at history, war has been...
And of course, you have some breaking news, as you said.
Yes, I will add on to it. But if you look at history, war has been the only constant that has appeared well and over every couple of years, couple of decades. We are away more or less 80 years from the last World War, and right now the concerned individual countries, Israel, Iran and USA, aside from them, there are major economic strong forces also elsewhere in the country. You look at China, you look at Russia, you look at South Africa, you look at Australia, all these major other players who would like to keep a globalized world order going in order to provide for their economies. Not only so, if World War III does break out, this would have impacted the next decade as well. Even if it broke out today, we'd be reeling from the effects of the World War up until 2050. Not only so, I'll add in where the American intelligence is at a failure. The Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, made a congressional hearing or a statement back in March. She said that the intelligence agency determined that Iran had not resumed its suspended 2003 nuclear weapons program. Even the nation's stockpile of enriched uranium was at an all-time high. So they have enriched uranium for their own energy purposes, but there were no weapons of mass destruction, if you would call it, or nuclear weapons that Iran had. Donald Trump was asked by CNN reporter regarding this comment by Tulsi Gabbard, and he blatantly said, I quote, "I don't care what she said." The leader of America, POTUS, is not giving a damn about what the Director of National Intelligence had to say way back in March. So this is just to tell our viewers and show how the choosing of sides is at question, how Donald Trump's leadership is now going into the world order. In a breaking news, I found during our break that an Iranian strike had hit Israel's economy, the heart of the economy. The Tel Aviv Stock Exchange building has been destroyed as a consequence of their retaliation towards Iran. That's almost about it for now. But before I finish, the Chinese have almost evacuated 800 of its own citizens to the bordering neighboring countries Azerbaijan and Turkmenistan, in order as major economies will do the same with their own citizens, as now Tehran and Israel have become heart of a conflict.
So, before going to Dr. Major Nasir, I have some summary on this discussion. Civilian casualties are mounting. Iran reports over 600 deaths, Iranian people, and 1,300 injuries. Israel has over 200 injuries and 24 plus deaths, and several buildings collapsed. As Shamsul Alam Pant was saying, several countries including Japan, China, Indonesia, Australia, New Zealand, India, Pakistan, Azerbaijan are evacuating their citizens from both the countries, especially in Iran, because Israel is a small country. The conflict has entered into 7th days. Some critics are saying it will not be possible for Israel to continue the war if it goes prolonged. But Iran has taken a long time preparation to do a long time war. In this situation, do you suspect that American soldiers, American fighters, American people will join the Israel, as Israeli people are leaving the country?
It's quite interesting to note that just few days back, you know, that American soldiers were taken back to the homeland, as the President Donald Trump declared that our first interest to develop our own country, to be great again, not to save the democracy and also the affairs of other countries. That was his statement before the election also. But again, he has already signed his order for necessary action against Iran, and definitely part of that action should be a physical intervention. But as the war scenario changed, especially as I said, there is it is a distance of 2020 to 2070 kilometer between the Israel and also the Iranian territory. So there is exchange of heavy missiles and drones between these two countries. So one of the options could be America will get involved with its technological facilities, its technological advancement. Probably they are going to hit a cyber war against Iran. If the cyber facilities of the Iran is already, there was a news that the internet facilities of entire Iran was under threat and collapsed.
And they are avoiding WhatsApp actively, yes, as WhatsApp feeds back to Israel.
Yes. So if the cyber war goes against the Iran, that could be one option instead of physical intervention by the American soldiers. Another could be the air strikes from different countries and from different positions. There could be exchange of fire from the naval bases already set up in the Middle East, and also new fleets being moved towards the Middle East. And finally, if the countries like Russia, China or North Korea get involved, I am afraid something may happen which we are not imagining.
What are you gazing about the Turkey?
Turkey? Turkey and Pakistan both are now playing a game probably which is not cannot be predicted pinpoint, because Turkey at one stage they said that they will help, but apparently they have not given that much of warm shelter to the Irani people. Pakistan at one stage they opened the border. Now they have opened the border, but for its own citizens who had probably in business or in the education
And
sector.
their chief of staff is enjoying lunch with Donald Trump.
With Donald Trump. So all this indicates there could be a funny game.
After your discussion, one question raised into my mind. I'll ask this question to our international affairs commentator. Do you find the hypocrisies of the Muslim leaders, Islamic countries?
There is, to a certain extent, their eyes didn't open even during the Gaza assault, Israel's assault in Gaza, and now, even now when we hear something has been destroyed in Israel, everyone is celebrating. That's the notion set by Israel. So when their ruthless attack on these innocent civilians have caused majority of the people of the world to celebrate when something bad happens to Israel, it's a doing of their own. But you mentioned the Islamic countries. Definitely OIC is supposed to meet, I think, in the coming weeks. But before that, I would like to add on that at this moment, Turkey is playing a balancing act. As you know, the ceasefire...
Turkey is a NATO member.
NATO member as well. So they're doing a balancing act between Russia and Ukraine. 2 rounds of talks have taken place in Turkey, and they're happy to do more. They're one of the other nations who want global peace in order to have economic stability. But for the rest, it's still too early to say how far the Islamic nations are going to be in support of Iran. Definitely, there has been a notion in the last couple of decades that it was Iraq at one point, it was Syria at one point, now it's Iran. Maybe next it could be Pakistan. Of getting rid of their nuclear arsenal. But should the Islamic nations be a sovereign country, or should they be dictated by a foreign Western power? That is the question of the hour.
Very big question, sir. As you mentioned, the role of NATO. NATO will have their summit in Hague on 24 June.
This month,
but
yes.
They have declared their agenda, which will focus on the defense spending, deterrence and ongoing support for Ukraine. According to the information, sources are saying there is no agenda to talk about the civilian killing and huge destroying going on in Iran. NATO does not have any agenda on that particular. Don't you find it is a ridiculous organization?
Well, the EU and European Union, specifically NATO and American counterparts, their relationship remains in a jimbo as well due to the trade tariffs that Donald Trump is once imposing and then removing and then imposing again. So there's no kind of a direct relationship there. But however, in recent times, Friedrich Merz of the German Chancellor, he has given €5 billion support towards Ukraine in their fight towards Russia. Is the once again very common players here. The friendly comparison between between Russia and China is once again questioned both at the front of Russia and Ukraine war and once again as a proxy in the Iran-Israel war. So it's basically one part of global dominance versus another part of global dominance, and which is why even us sitting in Bangladesh, we are affected as a third party as well. Another nation in the 200 nation globe we call home, we are also being affected.
So thank you very much. I want to have a very last comment in 1 minute from Dr. Nasir. Bangladesh embassy in Tehran has been affected by the Israeli attack. Bangladesh has no business with Israel. Israel have no business with Bangladesh. What should be the Bangladesh's role in this situation? Why Israel has attacked our consulate office?
Yeah. So as a country with the major of the Muslim population, it has to express its condolence for all the happening, whether it is in Gaza or in the Iran, whatever is happening, this is one. But more importantly, instead of political or the military preparation, Bangladesh needs a thorough preparation to face the challenges coming up for any kind of war accelerating in the Middle East, because especially you know, the price of the fuel already jumped up and it can even go further. And there was a strike in the in one of the seaports of Iran, which exports the liquid natural gas, LNG. And Bangladesh is now dependent on LNG to a greater extent, with especially coming from the country like Qatar. So if there is a blockade in Hormuz, or if there is any problem in between to get the fuel, LNG at cheaper cost or at a reasonable price, the prices of everything will go up, including the export of the garments. That will be also under
so you suggest Bangladesh should express
yes,
its
it
condolence.
should take its preparation.
Gentlemen,
thoroughly.
thank you very much for your contribution and insightful thoughts and comments on this particular. Before concluding, I have 3 questions to my respected viewers. Do you know who won the First World War? No one. Do you know who won the Second World War? No one. In Russia and Ukraine, no one is still winning. So in Iran and Israel, no one will winning. Only humanity will lose. We'll see you next day.